A very warm good morning to all of you. Dear students, once again welcome back to the English literature class. Today we are continuing with the same short story, unit number 7. The title of the story is The Little Match Girl, written by Hans Christian Andersen, part 3. Do you remember what we were discussing in the last class? The girl who was walking by the road was fully exhausted due to the bitter cold and hunger. Finally, she made herself comfortable at the corner of a building. While sitting there, she just took out a matchstick and scratched. There she found some amazing scenery. That's what we were discussing in the last class. Now, let's see what had happened in the life of that girl. She struck another. It burned clearly, and where the light fell upon the wall, the bricks became transparent like gauze. Now what happened? She took the second matchstick. She just struck it, and it produced the light. It burned clearly, and where the light fall? The light fall upon the wall, because as I have already told you, she was sitting at the corner of a building. So the light fall upon the wall. The bricks became transparent like gauze. Gauze means it's a kind of very thin cloth, very narrow it is, which means we can see the other side once if we look through the cloth. So the same thing happened. It became the brick, the wall became very transparent, which means she was able to see what was happening on the other side of the wall. What was there? She could see right into the room where a shining white cloth was spread on the table. So she was able to see the inside part of the room, or on the other side of the wall, because she is looking from the street, and she was able to see what was happening inside the building, inside the room. She could see right into the room where shining white cloth was spread on the table. So on a dining table, a very neat, clean and shining white tablecloth was spread on the table. It was covered with beautiful tuna, and in the center of it stood a roast goose stuffed with prunes and apples steaming deliciously. So then she has noticed on the dining table number of dishes were served, and especially her attention caught by the special dish made on that day. What was that? At the center of it stood a roast goose. We have already seen when she was walking through the street, the all over area was fully covered with the smell of roasting goose, and that's why she got more hunger. So she got her attention towards the roasted goose stuffed with prunes and apples steaming deliciously. So a very beautiful and attractive smell was being coming out of this roasted goose, and to that particular matter she got attracted. And what was even more wonderful was that the goose hopped down from the dish, waddled across the floor with carving knife and fork in its back, waddled straight up to the poor child. Two new words are there. First one, hopped. Hopped means jumped out of the dish or jumped out of the plate. The next word is waddled, which means to walk with short steps. Now let's see what is the meaning of this paragraph. And what was even more wonderful was that the goose hopped down from the dish. So the most wonderful thing, or the most interested factor here was that, what was that? The goose, the roasted goose jumped out of the dish, waddled across the floor. It just moved towards the little child with carving knife and fork in its bag. The knife and fork were still at the backside of the the roasted goose waddled straight up to the poor child. It just made steps towards the poor child. Then out went the match, and nothing could be seen but the thick, cold wall. Before the goose could reach up to the child, out went the match. The flame was over, and nothing could be seen but the thick, cold wall. Except the thick, cold wall, nothing was there. So, this is what was the second scene seen by the girl. Now, she struck another match, and suddenly she was sitting under the most beautiful Christmas tree. She took the third matchstick. She just struck it. It started to produce the light. Once the matchstick started to burn, she experienced like she was sitting under the most beautiful Christmas tree. We have seen it was a Christmas Eve, and that's why she felt like she was sitting under the most beautiful Christmas tree. It was much larger and much lovelier than the one she had seen last year through the glass doors of the rich merchant's house. She just remembered something reflected in her mind. What was that? It was more larger and lovelier than what she has seen in the last year. Where she found it, she had seen last year through the glass doors of the rich merchant's house. In the last year also she has seen. She never gone to the Christmas tree, but she has seen in one of the richest man's house, a merchant's house, a very big Christmas tree she has seen, which was more big in size, which was more lovelier. But this year what she had seen was better than the experience what she had in the last year. It was much larger and much lovelier than the one she had seen last year. 1,000 candles lit up the green branches, and gaily colored bells like those in the shop windows looked down upon her. And it was decorated with a number of beautiful candles. It was decorated with a number of balls and number of other decorative things which she had seen in the market in one of the shops. So it was so beautiful altogether. Now the little girl reached forward with both hands, then out went the match. Now she was so interested in the Christmas tree. That's why she just stood up and started to move towards with both hands open. She just tried to touch the Christmas tree. She was trying to reach up to the Christmas tree. By the time out went the match. Now there were no more Christmas trees, no more candles, no more beautiful decorative items, but there were only cold and darkness. The many candles on the Christmas tree rose higher and higher through the air, and she saw that they had now turned into bright stars. But she got some other experience now. Those candles which she had seen on the Christmas tree rose higher and higher. It just left the place and started to move towards the sky. Higher and higher through the air, and she saw that they had now turned into bright stars. Now it became bright stars since it started to move towards the sky. One of them fell, striking the sky with light. Here there is a new word, striking, which means a line like. So suppose you might have seen, if a rocket is moving in the air, it will create a line. Same way, one of the stars which was moving towards the sky, but in fact it lost its control and started to fall to the earth. One of them fell, striking the sky with a light, which made a light in the sky, and it came down towards the earth. Now someone is dying, said the little girl, for her old grandmother, the only one who had ever been good to her but who was now dead, had said, "Whenever a star falls, a soul goes up to the God." What she told, now someone is dying. She is telling to herself what she told, somebody is dying now. Why did she say so? She said it just because her grandmother told her once, if you found that a star is falling to the earth, which means someone is dying and their soul is going up to the God. That's what her grandmother told her, with whom she was so much affectionate. She was loving her grandmother very much. She was so much fond of her grandmother. That's why what was the reason? Her grandmother was the only one who had ever been good to her, but who was now dead, who died years before. But still the little girl is remembering the words told by her grandmother. What she told, somebody will die and their soul will be going up to the God. That's why the star is falling down and the soul goes up to the God. So dear students, we are winding up here. In the next class, we will see the last part of the story, the tail end of the story. Still we meet in the next class with the last part of the story. I would like to sign off. Thank you.